opens the door to people seeking help if there are concerns.
So this is a condition, extremely common, affects tens of millions of people around the world every year, but it's often undiagnosed. It can be a tricky one. Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS commonly called, is now officially getting a new name, and the hope here is that with a new name, it can change how this condition is viewed, diagnosed, treated, and the patients, hopefully, better outcomes for them long term. Joining me today, I have two people here. We've got, first of all, there's a landmark study that really prompted the name of the change of this name, and one of the doctors involved is Dr. Melanie Cree, professor of pediatric endocrinology at the University of Colorado Anschutz. You're also with Children's, and one of your patients here, we have Grace Hamilton. Thank you guys both for being in here today.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of, well, I can tell you, my generation of women, I hear a lot about PCOS.
Yes.
This is becoming a really common thing to talk about. Before we talk about like the new name change and the acronym, what is PCOS? What does this mean? What are some of the things women are dealing with this?
Yeah, so PCOS is really common. It's 1 in 8 women, which we should have been hearing more about it sooner.
You'd think.
Yeah, yeah. And it's essentially not normal periods and too high of testosterone.
Okay.
And so that can make people have facial hair, acne, and then that's what causes problems with the periods. And in adult women, we look at the ovaries, but they're not cysts, they're follicles.
I see. In my circles, I hear a lot about this as women are trying to start their families and running into some significant problems and maybe had long had issues with their monthly cycles, but maybe never really had a real diagnosis. This has been a tough one for a lot of years to like figure out what's going on, right? And there's just kind of a normalization around like, yeah, periods suck, nobody wants them.
Yes, absolutely. And part of the thing that we need to do is periods are a vital sign in women. So if you don't have regular periods, you need to see your doctor. While we hear a lot about infertility in this condition, it's less than 20%, which means that 4 of 5 women with this condition do not have problems with fertility, which is part of the reason the name PCOS is a problem.
I see. Okay. And then I certainly want to hear, Grace, about your story and what you've lived through. But before we get into kind of like your background here, just the idea of changing the name, what was the idea behind that? And you were involved in kind of the process, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So in 2012 at the NIH, we talked about changing the name, and then we got patients involved, and then it's taken us since 2012
Nothing
to come
happens
up with
quickly.
this. No, but we've involved 14,000 individuals, 22,000 surveys, patients from around the world, and really this was patient-driven, and we as health professionals supported their vision.
PCOS is now P what?
MOS.
And M stands for?
So the new name is polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome.
Not a mouthful at all.
No, so just stick with PMOS.
I see. Grace, tell us a little bit about your backstory, the process of you figuring out you were living with this situation, right?
Totally. Yeah, it took 14 years for me to get a diagnosis. I started cycling at age 11. They said, oh, they'll regulate. Never did. Put me on birth control, told me to come back if I wanted to get pregnant. And then at 25, my nurse practitioner finally tested my testosterone and said, oh, yeah, that's really high. It's PCOS.
More than a dozen years
Oh,
you were dealing with this. Like, did you just kind of normalize it at that point? Like, whatever, this stinks, but this is what I deal with.
I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I tried so many different things and, you know, ate less, worked out more. And really for me, it was absolutely a metabolic thing because as soon as I was on a 0.25 dose of the semaglutide, I got my cycle.
Yeah, so what can you do for a patient who's in the middle of this?
Right.
And maybe it's different based on their age.
Well, part of the problem is we haven't been able to get research funding for metabolic research because it's been called an ovary syndrome. So what we're really hoping is we can get more funding so that we can come up with more treatments that are appropriate. So Grace was in my research trial looking at the effect of semaglutide, a weight loss medication, so a metabolic medication to fix periods. But I'm one of the few investigators in the world to have this kind of funding. It's incredibly difficult to get.
That's really interesting. How has life been for you since you've had a little more clarity in what you're up against?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, I read the name now and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I have. I talk to my friends, I talk to my family, I'm like, this is what I have.
Yeah.
It's really validating. It's really just incredible to be living a life where my cycles are predictable and I get my quality back.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing I want to leave folks with is women who are concerned about their cycle. Like, you need to say something. You need to advocate for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Don't just consider abnormality normal anymore, correct? Like, what would your advice be
Correct.
to a patient, a fellow patient?
My advice would be to all women, if you don't have a period every month and you're not taking hormones, talk to your doctor about it. Like I said, periods are a vital sign for women.
Okay. Ladies, thank you for coming in today. Best of luck on your continued research. And Grace,
you.
thank you as well.
Thank you.
All right.